I've never really heard anyone talk about what the Roaring Knight's goal in Deltarune might be, so I decided to make this video to make a comprehensive analysis of the knight's actions thus far and what their meaning might be. And let me tell you, you've probably never heard of my theory before. Some of the things the knight does seem a little bit obsolete, like why wait on the fun gang to aura farm? Probably not. And overall, why even open most of these fountains? They seem to want to kidnap people, but there was no one in the abandoned classroom. In the cyberworld there were Bertley and Noelle, but they didn't kidnap them. Probably because there was a ruckus outside and they would have easily been spotted. But why even open it in the first place then? There was also no one in the church, so why open the second dark world and the main hall of it? If they saw that there was no one there, if they really wanted to abduct people, why did they wait? And if they wanted to flee, why not just lead the fun gang further into the dark world and then leave in secret? They can fly after all. Another question that's been lingering on my mind is, who closed the door of the supply closet in chapter 1? I personally think it was Carol. After all, she's working with the knight, or it's just the knight straight up herself. Maybe she told Alphys to make Chris and Susie specifically go get Shock from the supply closet. After all, Noelle's bidding for her and Susie to go get Shock is fully ignored by Alphys. And her telling Chris that she feels very concerned for them could be seen as a sign of guilt. But now there's the question of, why would Carol do this? Well, to alter the prophecy. In the second sanctuary, we can see this prophecy panel. The second hero, the girl with hope crossed in her heart. In this prophecy panel, we see a girl with a sword, long hair, but also no antlers, which is strange. Most people say we see Noelle here, because Noelle can equip swords and Susie can't. But I disagree. After all, the depicted person doesn't have any antlers. Later on we see another panel with the exact same art as before, but with one key difference, a right side up heart, and the text above it reads, "Love finds its way to the girl." This can be read in two ways. Either that the girl will find a lover, or that a soul will find its way into the girl. Our soul. Alright, hear me out. What if we will be able to possess Susie later on in the game? Then this would work out. And, hear me out again. What if this whole prophecy we see in chapter 4's Dark World is not the real prophecy, but rather an altered one? Ram says in the Sword Route that Tenna's game is not exactly the original, and that he has the original game backstage. The Sword Route game clearly references the Weird Route. It also resembles the way Noelle described the Dragon Blazers in her blog post from the Spamton sweepstakes, predominantly with the maze that you can't solve without an NPC guiding you. As we know from Gerson, most media including Dragon Blazers is related to the prophecy, making it sound like the Weird Route is the original prophecy, where something bad happens to Noelle, and this isn't saved. So Carol and the Knight, or just Carol, are working against the prophecy, possibly altering it, so Susie would see the fake panels and be led on the wrong path. If this is true, then that would explain why they waited on the fun gang to pass through. It doesn't matter if there aren't any people in the church to abduct. They can still show Susie the false prophecy that way. But then there's one inconsistency. Don't most people already know the prophecy? How can they be so sure that Susie doesn't know the prophecy yet? I certainly don't have an answer to this. But point is, Susie didn't know the prophecy. And if you're thinking that this can't be true, because Ralsei tells them that the prophecy he told to Susie and Chris was a shortened version of the quote, actual prophecy, you could just make the argument that Ralsei was made by Chris or the Knight in some way, and he was given this false prophecy. Okay, now that we've cleared that part up, let's tackle the next question. Why are they abducting people? Oh yeah, I just wanted to throw this in. I think they were planning from the very start to abduct Undyne. That's why Chris slashed the car's tires, so Toriel would call the police, and Chris also left the doors open for the exact same reason. Them beaming Toriel is just a way to stall for time. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. The kidnapping definitely has something to do with this. Maybe she's somehow being kept alive by whatever these black shards are, and is lacking something. The parallels to everything dark being less real and more about fantasy, I had the idea that maybe this fell into the darkness and turned into a part darkness. Like she literally transformed into the night from the prophecy. She became a fictional character. Her consciousness is still in the dark, but her body is being possessed by this fictional character in some way. That would explain the voice in the code. This can still be the knight and the voice in the code at the same time. And with us being the soul, having the ability to emit light and literally being a dimension above the game world as players of the game, you could say there's a sort of hierarchy of realism. Lightners like Undyne being higher up on the hierarchy than Darkners means they also have some sort of light that you could use to dispel the darkness engulfing Deaths and freeing her. That's what they're kidnapping people for, most likely. Carol seems to be aware of the soul too, and that's probably also why Chris is keeping us in their body, because they need us to seal the fountains and free Deaths. But maybe our light isn't enough, so they still have to kidnap some Lightners. And in conclusion, the Knight is trying to change the prophecy by leading Susie on the wrong path, and trying to subvert some sort of calamity written in the original prophecy. If we assume the Knight is either Carol or Des, it's probably because dies, or B, Des would never be saved. And they're kidnapping people to free Des from the darkness possessing her body, and the Soul's Knight not being enough on its own. If you like this analysis, theory sort of thing, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And watch out for new content that I'll be posting in the future. I hope to see you all again next time. Bye bye!